This is part 8 of the Craftsman 6-inch joiner rebuild series. If you haven't seen part 7, click the link at the top of the screen. In this video, we will be finishing up with the painting. Hello everyone, I'm Jeff and welcome to my shop. We got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. Before we can paint the brown, we've got to finish up painting the gold. So this is the joiner body, and I'm doing the inside of it and going through several cans of paint throughout this entire process. But in part 7, I went over the information on this gold paint. And here we're just doing the interior and then the exterior of the joiner body. And once we've finished that, we're going to let that sit for probably about 2 days. And then we can come back and flip it over and do the other side of it. So here we are 2 days later. And we've already flipped it. So we're going to do the interior again. Hit any areas that we missed. And then we're going to do another coat to the exterior. And we had painted one side of these brackets for the pedestal stand, but we had not flipped them over yet, so we've gone ahead and flipped them now and painting them. The same is true for the motor base and the motor mount. As well as the end frames or end bells for the motor itself. So the brown paint that I like to use is this Ace hardware. Rust Stop Leather Brown is the color. It's product number 17081. And it is a gloss. And I'm going to shoot all of the parts that you see hanging here with the brown. So these are the bearing brackets, and that is the linkage assembly. That is one of the linkage bars. That is the bracket for the power panel. We've got the 2 pulleys. And then we've got the 2 feet for the joiner. And I could have painted everything the same color, but I like a little bit of contrast. And we're going to be doing some masking and contrast painting a little bit later in this video. So some of the parts being painted brown now just makes sense. So we've got, coming up here, we've got the various dovetails and the belt guard and the belt guard mount. Now I like how this this Ace Hardware brand paint sprays. The atomizer on the can does a fantastic job. comes out almost like a powder. So we've flipped over those dovetails, and now we're doing the other side of them. There was probably about 2 to 3 days in between. So whenever I mask stuff and then I paint it, I try to remove the mask within an hour of painting something. So this is the same day that we painted the other half of the joiner body, and we can go ahead and remove all the masking on it now. And I like removing that mask within an hour or two of painting something, so that if you're spraying a really heavy coat of paint like I do, sometimes removing the mask will pull some of that paint with it. So if you do it while the paint is still a little tacky, it has a tendency to not pull the paint with it. So these are the motor end frames, and we had masked the top surface where the felt retainer mounts to it, and then we used some rubber plugs for the bearings themselves. We can just push those out of there. And these are those two mounting brackets for the pedestal. And the only thing we masked was the inside of the bore, where the columns interface with it. So we just need to remove the masking there. And this is one of the tables. And you saw me apply all this, so nothing a surprise here. This is also a good time to go ahead and visually inspect the paint job to see if you need to make any touch-ups before you remove all this masking tape. This is the other table. This is where the dovetails mount on the inside of it. So there's a little bit more to remove here. We've also got some rubber plugs inside the mounting bore for the swinging guard. And then we've got the top side of it. There we go. This is the fence. Piece of cake. And this is the mounting bracket for the belt guard. And these are the bearing brackets and the linkage assembly. Looks like I missed a spot there, but not the end of the world. We've got the two pulleys. I don't always paint the pulleys, especially inside the sheave, because that paint's just going to wear away once that belt starts running on it, but I decided to do those. And these are the dovetails. So you can imagine that this process takes a while, just like applying the masking did. But it's well worth it in my opinion. All right, so we're going to be painting the raised center section of the base with the brown. So to do that, we're going to mask off what's going to stay gold. And again, I'm just using wax paper. And once we get the outer perimeter masked off, we're going to go ahead and mask off the two column bores, or the protrusions, the bosses, whatever you want to call them. And then everything you see that's gold right now will be painted the brown. We just need to clean up those corners. All right, so we're going to shoot that with the leather brown, just directly over the gold. This is kind of my paint scheme that I use on all of my tools. Next, we've got the hard masking. So this is the swinging guard, and you'll notice that it's got those grooves in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask the exterior and we'll do a little bit of masking on the underside as well, but not a whole lot. I'm just using a piece of tracing paper to get that curve down so that we can then lay out some masking tape on that cutting mat and go ahead and cut that curve out. And mask that edge. And then once we've got all of that masked, we're going to go ahead and use 1/8 inch pen striping masking and mask each one of those grooves. I did this on my 12-inch bandsaw back when I rebuilt it. I really liked how it turned out, so I knew as soon as I bought this this joiner, this is what I was going to be doing with the swinging guard. The only problem with this pen striping masking is it doesn't like to conform to something that's not straight, so it keeps wanting to raise on that portion that's curved down. And we're just using basically a popsicle stick to press the masking tape into that groove. And I kind of wish there was some more detail on the joiner itself that was like this, because I'd like to do it in a couple of areas, but you know, it's not how King Seeley designed it, so this is the only piece that gets this elaborate pen striping. All right, and once we're done with all of that masking, we're ready to go ahead and shoot this with some paint. And we'll just shoot it real quick here. And we'll hang that up and let it dry for about 30 minutes, and then we can come back here and go ahead and peel that masking tape off of it. And see how well it turned out. And I think it turned out great. It looks fantastic. All right, so now we can go ahead and remove the masking tape from the base. And once we get all that masking tape off, we've got to pull the masking tape out of the bores. And then we'll set all this stuff aside and let it finish curing. And that will complete the painting, I believe. So that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. In the next video, I think we're going to clean up the columns and maybe do some assembly of some stuff. So as always, I appreciate the support, and I will see you next time.